colors. I also think Peter Pan is just like an incredible, like, classic attraction.
I love Peter Pan too.
Thank you. It is iconic. The wait, sometimes I'm like, I can't commit to a 2-hour wait. But once they added the queue and they made it like more immersive, and then I was like, okay, I can get on board with this. But
I have little kids, so I don't mind waiting for it, but it does get pretty long at times.
Okay, Taylor says, I've never been on Indiana Jones adventure. Sounds fun. Okay, well, we will get started. It's 11 o'clock. Thanks for everyone who joined us a little bit early and started with our engagement. We think it's a fun way just to kick off the session. So welcome to everyone. I am sure you are just so excited. We are going to introduce ourselves in just a second, but we just wanted to welcome each and every one of you. We know that your program is right around the corner, whether it's the college program or the culinary program. So we want to welcome each and every one of you, but also let you know that today's session is truly with you in mind. And what we mean by that is you're going to hear a little bit of our journey, but we have been working for the program or done the program. So we know what you are feeling, those emotions, those excitements, those nerves, some questions that you may be having as well too. So really, when we were putting together this session, we kept you top of mind. We also very much look at the questions that you ask when you register. So I'm pretty proud that a lot of them are already in the session, and we will be allowing some opportunities at the end. We incorporated some of the questions that you included, as well as we're going to have an opportunity for some Q&A as well too at the end. But before we get started, we always just like to congratulate you. Hopefully you congratulated yourself as well. This is truly a big deal for you to be here on this program. And I know we're a little biased, but I don't think you realize the magnitude. We had over 20,000 people apply for this program, and there are not 20,000 spots for this program. I will say that. So you truly are the best of the best. You should be incredibly proud for the adventure and the journey that you're about to go through, and it's just truly, truly incredible and life-changing. I will say everyone on this screen has had their life changed by this program. So we're just really excited to welcome each and every one of you. So just some key things before we get started, or some key notes. One, there's two ways to interact with us. One is the chat feature, which some of you have already dabbled in a little bit, but for anyone who's late to the game, we would encourage you to open up the chat feature. Make sure the two is to everyone and not just hosts and panelists, but let's have some fun with it. So throw in the chat what state you're representing today. This is always one of my favorite parts. What state are you representing? California, New York, Oklahoma, Georgia. See, wow, I always just pull up the chat and sit and watch it.
I see some Midwest in there. I'm from the Midwest as well. There's Illinois.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm from Texas. Devon's from Texas. Brandon's from Iowa. So we've got a little representation on here. Great. Well, we love to see that. So that's one way to engage with us. As you can see, this program has people from pretty much every state. We even love seeing Alaska and Hawaii, and very, very soon, some international participants as well. So we're very excited to be welcoming them back as well. The other platform that you're going to use to engage with us is the Q&A icon. You're going to see over to the right-hand side of your chat button. As I mentioned, we're going to be taking some of your questions at the end of today's session. We did try to incorporate a lot of them during the session. So most of the time we're going to be covering it. So we do ask that you have a little bit of patience before throwing in some questions in the Q&A. Lovely Devon is going to be helping us run the Q&A and the chat. But we do encourage you, if you do have a question, you want to make sure it gets answered, don't throw it in the chat. As you can see, it might get lost in all of the engagement and the excitement. So make sure you're putting it in the Q&A feature as well too. We also would encourage you not to record this session, as we are going to be having this session again tomorrow for those who are going to be arriving in the same group as you. And as you know, things change constantly. So our program is changing and evolving with all of the excitement and the news as well too. Perfect. Well, let's get started and introduce ourselves. I feel like I always go first. So I'm going to turn it over to Devon first so she can introduce herself. Sorry, I just threw that at you, Devon.
Hi, my name's Devon Jerica. I'm a coordinator with the Disney Programs team. My Twitter handle there at DCPDiva. Go ahead and give me a follow. I do like to give some helpful hints as far as arrivals go, pictures from arrivals, maybe, tips to as you prepare for your arrival coming. But I actually did start my journey with the company on the college program as well. I actually started spring of 1999, so probably some of you weren't even alive yet. But I did do the program. I came down my sophomore year in school. I attended Texas A&M Corpus Christi, so I had never actually been away from home before. The college experience was my college program. So I came down. I actually did custodial hostess at Animal Kingdom and loved it so much. It made me realize I wanted to come back and work for the company. So I actually came back into the summer program where I was attractions at Epcot. And then after I graduated, I came down and then did 2 professional internships and then got hired on full time. So I've been full time now for a little over 18 years. And so happy to be welcoming y'all on the program soon. Get ready to have some fun and celebrate the 50th anniversary with us as well. So I'm going to send it over to Brandon, who's going to tell us a little bit about himself.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Devon. Hey, everyone. My name is Brandon Conradi, and I'm a recruiter on our Disney programs team. And I graduated from the University of Iowa many, many years ago, but I had been with the company for almost 18 years. So I did my college program right after I graduated from college. Always knew I wanted to work for Disney. Just had such a strong passion for the company. Love this amazing company. On my program, I worked in attractions at Innoventions at Epcot. Although the location is no longer there, I still love Innoventions and had just an incredible journey there. Again, I just love this company so much. I never left. I did the professional internship program. After my college program, I worked in sales and marketing. And then after my professional internship, was very fortunate. They hired me full time. So I spent about 5 years there as a communications manager. I did everything from was the lead publicist there for Expedition Everest, which is my favorite Disney attraction, Soarin', all kinds of fun stuff there. So just an amazing adventure. I have been part of this team now for about 13 years. So I used to do the college program interviews, professional internship interviews for our company. Now we're no longer doing interviews, so kind of shifted around a little bit, but I just absolutely love the college program. I know you're going to love it too. And I'm just really excited to welcome you here next month, right? Next month, May.
They're probably in countdown mode right now. Yeah,
I know, right?
If I was you, I'd be packing already. I'd be ready to go.
I'm ready and I'm not even going. So,
well, hi, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. 11 o'clock is always that weird time. Is it morning? Is it afternoon? So good morning, everyone. My name is Brittany. I'm a recruiter for Disney programs as well. That is my Instagram handle, kind of like Devon. We're at Arrivals, sharing tips and tricks, really just like fun engagement, throwback Thursdays, things like that. But my journey also started on the college program. 2010, I came down, worked at the front desk at Saratoga and Old Key West. I had some really fantastic leaders. You were thinking like, hey, what's next for you within the company? Devon can tell you, people from Texas don't usually leave Texas. So I was like, no, I'm going back to Texas. And they're like, no, you should stay with the company. And I applied for professional internships, and I was very fortunate to be selected for the housing events PI, and I have stayed within programs ever since. So I was in our housing, our legacy properties, like shout out to Vista Way, always has a special place in my heart. And then in the last year, I've moved over to the recruiting. So I just love every second about this program. You're truly in for an amazing adventure. But we always say it is what you make of it, though. So really take advantage of this opportunity. Now, I want you to take a picture of the screen, not because our lovely, beautiful faces are on here, but at the bottom of the screen, and you see where it says questions. So this support site, we're gonna reference it quite a bit. So support.disneyprograms.com. A lot of you have probably already heard it. It is a great place. There's articles that our lovely Devon oversees. So she did a great job with all that. So great information. You can search for things like if you're looking for, earlier releases, accommodations, you can search for those things and it will walk you through what information you need to know. Or if you don't see an answer to your
the checklist is very helpful right now. Yep. You can search
checklist. Yep, exactly. So, or if you don't see an answer to your question, please, you can reach out and open up a ticket or a request, and it goes directly to our team to be able to answer it. So you might not have questions right now, but I guarantee you, as it leading up to a time, it's a great resource for you as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Brandon. He's going to talk to you a little bit about what to expect during our session today.
Yeah, what to expect. Awesome. So really that support site is really, it's a lifeline. I mean, there's so much great information.
I use it all the time.
Me too. Me too. I go there even when they're asking questions about this session, I'll go to the support site just to make sure that, we're covering all our bases. So awesome. So what are we going to be doing today? So your arrival day is coming up really fast. And really, truly, guys, I'm just really excited for you guys. I did the program, Devon did it, Brittany did it. It really changed my life. I would not be here where I am today, 18 years later, without this amazing program. And our goal today is really to get you even more excited about your upcoming arrival, but also help you feel prepared as well. So I know it's a little bit nervous, moving across the country, but hopefully after today, you'll learn a little bit more about what to expect. We're also going to talk about this amazing company that we work for and that you will be working for soon. We're going to walk you through a brief timeline of when you should be on the lookout for important information leading up to your program. We know that's important. We'll give you that timeline next here, but we'll even highlight your arrival day, and just some things to be aware of as you start to pack and get ready for this amazing adventure. And of course, many of you know there are 3 components of the program. We have creating the magic, studying the magic, experiencing the magic. We're going to take a deeper dive into all of those and just highlight some important details for each one. And then the last thing is, Brittany mentioned this before, but we will wrap up with some common questions that we heard from you when you registered, but we'll also open it up to some Q&A as well. So, all right, sound good? Should we get rolling?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Awesome. So next slide here, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about our amazing company. When you're here, when you're on this Disney College program, you're not just a Disney College program participant. You are part of our Disney family. You're part of our Ohana, and it's just a valuable part of our Walt Disney Company. But what most people don't realize when they arrive here is that our company is so much more than just the theme parks and resorts. A lot of times, you're working for Walt Disney World, you're thinking theme parks, resorts, attractions, and all that. So much more, So as you can see from the screen, our company really does reach people throughout the entire world. And for all you Star Wars fans, even a galaxy far, far away. I had to throw that one in there. Had to throw it in there. After your Disney College program, you guys, which one of these segments of Disney would you love to work for? Don't be shy. Go to the chat. After your program, if there's any segment of the company that you would want to work for, what would it be? I know for me, it would be ESPN. There you go, Rachel. I'm with you. Vacation Club, Marvel, Imagineer, Lucasfilm, ESPN, same with me. I'm a sports guy. I would absolutely love to work for ESPN. So Pixar, another awesome one. Really, guys, the cool thing is, and the reason why I like to do this is many of these segments that you see on the screen offer professional internships as a potential next step after your program. So, while you're here, it's just really important that you work hard, make the most of every single opportunity because you never know where this experience will take you. Brittany mentioned, she did the program. I did the program. We did professional internships. Here we are, many, many years later, still working for this company that we love. And it's so
you don't need to say too many. We're not that.
Okay, I've been here a long time. I'm old, a lot older than you. So, and guys, really, truly, we see this every single season. There are rock stars in every group, and I know there are many here today. A lot of you will use this internship as a stepping stone to other things at Disney. And as you look on this screen, it could be for one of these amazing segments, at this incredible company. So kind of keep that in mind as well. So while you're working here, be a sponge, learn as much as you can. There may be opportunities for you to grow and develop and do something new after the program as well. All right, so guys, that's a little bit about this incredible company. Brittany, let's walk them through what the next month or so will look like. Tell them about the arrival timeline.
We get lots of questions about, paint a picture. What does my arrival day look like? What is all the information leading up to my arrival? What information should I expect to receive? So we're going to kind of walk you through all of this. But first, throw in the chat, what day is everyone arriving? There's a big chunk of people who are arriving on the same day. I'd love to see it. What day is everyone arriving? Yes, there it is, May 16th.
It's coming up.
Yay! I know, they're so excited. Okay, this is a great, I know you guys probably all also have other ways that you're connecting, but this is one of the first platforms or experiences where you're able to connect with people who are going and arriving on the same day. I always say it's a really great thing to connect with those people, meet people from your arrival group, because you will go through that wave of emotions all at the same time. You're excited, you're nervous, you're going through training, you could feel a little overwhelmed, you could be homesick. So it's a really great way to just connect with other people who are arriving the same time as you. So you will probably fall a little bit farther down on this journey, but I'd love to just walk you through so you can see what the timeline is. So dorms registration is the first thing, and it's usually about 2 months before you arrive. You've already gone through this. So some of the key things, right? You're able to make your apartment preferences, have an opportunity to potentially link with a roommate that you're hoping and desiring to live with. You're able to register your vehicle, indicating to us that you're hoping to bring down your car. And for everyone, we also are mindful too, not everyone is living on site. Housing is not a requirement of the program. So you could let us know that you are opting out, meaning that you have your own apartment, transportation off site as well too. So we're always mindful as well that not everyone is residing at Flamingo Crossings. So anyone who's on screen that is opting out and not living with us, we'll make sure to tackle some other information that's important for you to know as well too. Now the next one, this one's a little bit of a shift. If you've had some friends who have arrived before this May timeframe, the onboarding documents, you're going to be receiving lots of emails from us. Be always, I would say, continue to check your emails at least once a day. I was terrible at this in my college days, so don't be like me. Always just be mindful of your emails. About 4 to 6 weeks prior to your arrival, you're going to be getting a lot of emails from them. Most importantly, I want to cover is the I-9 service email. Some of you probably haven't received it as of yet, just to be on the lookout for it. So these are all information that you're going to be doing for your new hire information, pre-arrival. Previous friends that might have been joining us earlier in our season used to bring their passport, their government issued IDs, things like that with them at arrivals. This is all information that you're going to be seeing prior to arrival. So you're going to need to make sure that you're either, when you receive that email, it's going to walk you through everything, but you're going to either need to have your passport or a driver's license. Social security card is usually what we see common examples of that information. Again, they will walk you through what documents you need to upload, but it's your work authorization. In order for you to be able to work with the company, we need to make sure that we see those I-9 documents. So again, everything will be done ahead of time. You're going to also see Trust Assure, which is your vaccination, as well as some new hire information. So just be on the lookout for all of that information. And again, please make sure that you're filling out and reaching out to us if you do have any questions. But if you make sure you fill out that information, because not completing it could delay your arrival process. Again, you might not have received it as of yet, so don't panic, but make sure that you're checking your spam folder as well. And most of the emails are not just coming from an email address that's called Disney, please read, right? So just making sure that you're looking through and sorting through any emails that you do receive. Now, this is probably where you kind of fall in. I know everyone received the email for your vehicle decal registration. I believe you received it last week, prompting you to realize like, hey, we have our decal event parking pass purchasing on the 11th, which was 2 days ago at 9 a.m. And it sold out very, very quickly. I believe that you received an email about 40 minutes later saying that for all May arrivals, the parking passes were sold out, which indicates if you're not able to purchase that parking pass, that you're not able to park on property at Flamingo Crossings Villages. You received that email. It says, please make sure that they might be sending you another follow-up email. I wish I had more information on what that looks like, but just again, stay tuned to what any additional emails. But if you did not purchase a parking pass, you will not be able to park on Flamingo Crossings property. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. We would encourage you not to bring your vehicle at that point then, because there is no off-site parking nearby that we would recommend at this time as well. Okay, so the lease, this is kind of when things start getting real, in my opinion. 2 weeks before you arrive, you're going to receive your lease if you're residing again on property. This is something that's really important. It needs to be done within that 72-hour window, or else you're indicating to us that you no longer wish to reside at Flamingo Crossings, and it will automatically opt you out of housing. So things to keep in mind, again, very important that you're checking your email. At this point, what makes it a little bit real is that you get to find out what your layout style, you know how when your dorms registration, you made preferences. This is when you get to find out what preference you got for your layout of your housing unit is. So that starts becoming a little bit real at that point. Now, I think this was everyone's favorite part, because there's just a wealth of information that comes when you receive your itinerary. One of the biggest questions that we all get, right, Brandon and Devon, is when will I find out my role and location, right? Once you receive your itinerary, that is when you truly find out what your role and location is. We do have our own fun Disney terminology too. So it might be you might not be able to recognize it right away. Like, okay, MK, Magic Kingdom, that's a given, right? But on our support site, there is a breakdown of all the terminology of like role and location. What does this mean? But that's when you really find out what your role and location is. Again, 7 to 10 days prior, you'll receive it via email. And not only do you find out what your role and location is, you find out what your PERNER number is. If I can give you a piece of advice, that PERNER number is something that you will have as long as you are a cast member, something that we've all had and we continue to have. It's not just for housing, it's for work as well. So you want to make sure that you, my advice, screenshot it, heart it in your photos, just to make sure you can be able to reference it. Especially as you're starting to remember that number. On my college program, I was terrible. I could not remember the number for the life of me. Now I have it memorized, but it's been a little bit of a decade now. Now, when you also think of your itinerary, it paints the picture of what your welcome week is going to look like. It lets you know, okay, you obviously know what your arrival date is, but it lets you know what time you're going to be checking in, where you're going to be checking in, whether it's the East or West campus, and that's a good indication to you what campus you're going to be living and residing at. Tells you what time your onboarding appointment is. Now, for any of my offsite participants, you still are required to go to onboarding. That's like your background checks, right? So that's for everyone, regardless if you're living at housing or not, or at Flamingo. It also paints that picture of what your welcome week looks like. If there is mandatory appointments that you have to attend through. So think of like anyone who's a lifeguard potentially on screen. You have a mandatory swim test. It will outline what time, date, any items that you need to bring as well throughout that time. So just it will allow you to see what your week is going to look like, any free time that you're going to have. I know my dad came down with me on my program, so it allowed me a little bit of an opportunity to know, okay, I have a little bit of time that I could spend with him or go grocery shopping, whatever the case may be. Now, your arrival day is so important that we have a whole other slide dedicated to some really great information of what your arrival day will look like, just so you can start planning ahead. Your training schedule, we do get a lot of questions about this. You're like, hey, I haven't received my training schedule. Please do not worry, do not stress. Even if you have arrived with us and you have not received your training schedule, it is a-okay. You will most likely receive an email from your training team during your welcome week. Now, if it gets to the point where it's your traditions day, which is usually Friday or Saturday, and you have not received your training schedule, please go visit our programs desk, which is over at Princess Hall on the East Campus, and they'll connect you with your training team to make sure that you have that training schedule. Very important, right? And then your traditions. This is probably every cast member is one of their favorite days as cast members because it's really, truly, one, it's your first working day. So it's always nice to get paid, but it's officially when you become a cast member, you learn what it means to be a cast member and creating those moments of happiness and joy and those magical moments for our guests. It's a big day for other reasons as well, but I will not spoil all of that magic for you. Now, if we do have any alumni on the call as well, please make sure if you took your company ID home with you by chance, make sure you bring it with you to your traditions day as well. Again, it's usually that Friday or Saturday. It will outline it on your itinerary as well. So I know I just threw a lot of information at you. Hopefully it's all really good, valuable information. But now let's tackle your arrival day. So I'm sure you're just so excited. As we mentioned, countdown has begun and you've probably already purchased flights or you've already outlined the driving distance to get there. You might have some family and friends going to be joining you. So when is really important because if you're like me and you came down a little bit earlier, totally fine. You're more than welcome to try to get accustomed to the area. You're not able to check in or reside at Flamingo Crossings Villages until your actual check-in day and time. Now, anything that you come down beforehand, hotels, other thing, are at your responsibility. You don't get discounts as of yet until you officially go through traditions and you're a cast member. So just keep that in mind. We always get the question about airports. It's probably about a 30 to 45 minute drive or Uber drive from the airport. We don't have shuttles to and from. Just make sure you give yourself an allotment of time. I was traveling this weekend and we had some delays with our flights. So we are very understanding if something comes up, whether weather delays or your flight delays, please let us know and reach out to us at the support site just to let us know when we're going to be expecting you. Don't panic though, just reach out to us. We know there's some things that are beyond your control.
And it happens a lot, so it's not just you.
It happens a lot, right?
Yeah.
We cannot predict the weather and other things going on. We also cannot accept any packages that are sent to us ahead of time. So please wait till you check in to order anything on Amazon or your other things that need to be delivered to your apartment. We cannot accept anything until you're currently a cast member and residing there. Now, where? I think that's a given of Flamingo Crossings Village is why we have it on here, is just to reiterate again, not everyone's checking in at the east and not everyone's checking in at the west. You have to look exactly at what your itinerary says and follow it accordingly as well too. The Who, we love seeing your family and friends with you at arrival days. They're your biggest cheerleaders, biggest support. Sometimes I focus on them more than you, so I have to remind myself you to not get so excited. They're just so proud, and I love having them there to witness that as well. So more than welcome to come down. We always say 2 helpers, which your friends, family, anyone who's not on the program is usually where we keep it. Now, if it's 3, it's not too terribly. It's arrival day. We'll talk about visitor policy in a little bit later, but arrival day is a little bit special. The vehicle piece is really important. I know you're probably trying to unload some things. We just ask that do not have enough parking for everyone who's currently on the program and everyone who's arriving that day to have more than just one vehicle. So please just make sure you're being mindful of that when you're planning ahead. Now, the what? Make sure you have an unexpired government issued ID. If you're driving down or you're flying, most of you will already have that covered because you need a driver's license or a passport, right, to make sure you're able to get through TSA and all of that stuff. So make sure you have that. You don't have, it has to be unexpired. It has to be in person, so you can't have a photocopy. Any employment documents that you need, you need your itinerary as well. That can be on your phone. Again, that's sent via email. Just make sure you have that with you. Again, all of your I-9 stuff is going to be done ahead of time. So no need to bring out your passport, your social security card and all of that with you. Only government issued a photo ID, okay, that's unexpired. And then your itinerary, as we've mentioned it quite a bit, it's very important. It's very unique to you. So please make sure on arrival day, on your welcome week, that you're only following your itinerary and no one else's. When I came down on my program, my roommate was a lifeguard. So I do not need to go through a swim test as a front desk hostess, right? But she, of course, did. So please make sure that you're following only yours, especially if you have friends or family that are also checking on the program as well. You have very unique times specific to you as well. Okay, I think I covered a lot of information. Hopefully it was a little bit helpful, kind of paints that picture. And again, if you have any other questions too about arrival day, you can throw it in the Q&A as well. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Brandon, who's going to talk a little bit more about the 3 components of the program and take you on a little bit of a deeper dive.
Yeah, so that was a lot. So now we're going to throw some more stuff at you. So.
This is the fun stuff.
I know this is awesome. We love talking about all of this. So as we mentioned before, our program does feature 3 separate components. We have creating the magic, studying the magic, and experiencing the magic. So throughout the next 15 minutes or so, you guys, we'll just kind of highlight each component of our program, just so you have a better understanding of why this is truly the internship of a lifetime. And of course, we want to get you even more excited about your arrival day because it is coming up fast.
So, they're going to blink and it's going to be here.
It's going to come up fast. Awesome. So the first thing is your role. Now, remember, your role is really Disney lingo for your job. Brittany mentioned that before, that there's a lot of different things that we'll talk about here, that is really kind of our Disney language. You'll learn it all. I'm still learning every day, and I've been here 18 years. But if you are looking at your dashboard, your Disney dashboard online, it may say a role on there. It is talking about your job on the program. Now, I do want to say that it may say a role, it may not say a role on there, and that's okay too. Just keep in mind that this role listed on there may not be the exact role that you are hired to do. You will get that on your itinerary, which Brittany mentioned, 7 to 10 days prior to your arrival. Once you do get that itinerary, it'll show your primary role and location. So I just want to highlight too that don't forget you have accepted an overarching program and you can be placed in any of our over 20 different guest facing roles that we do have available. It really truly is based on business needs. We do the best to, match everybody up. It could be anything from quick service, food and beverage, lifeguard, attractions, custodial, merchandise. Could be any of our over 20 different guest facing roles. So kind of keep that in mind as well. For our culinary participants, now this works a little bit differently for you. Chef has already shared with you your work location and position. You just want to make sure that you do bring your culinary knives with you when you travel to Orlando. And keep in mind, you guys, your first month in your work location will look a lot different than your last month. I know my first location or my first month at Interventions, it was tough. My first job, I had to memorize a 40-page spiel about the ultimate home theater and deliver that. Had nothing to do with Disney. It was very, very challenging. But as I got going in that role, I learned new things. I got to meet new people and found different ways that I could really make my mark in that role. And I absolutely loved it by the time that I was done. So there are just countless opportunities throughout the program that you could experience. Some examples could be you could train in another location or area, even apply for unique opportunities. I know, for example, last season we had premium services, Galactic Star Cruiser offerings. Brittany, you were doing interviews for premium services just yesterday, right?
Yep, and I have some more this afternoon.
Yeah, see, there you go. There's just a lot of different opportunities that could become available. You could even become a trainer, to a new Disney College Program cast members coming in your work location. So you just never know what's going to evolve there, in that role. As far as work schedule, I think the biggest thing that we can say is flexibility is truly the key. You will need full availability, as you could be working days, nights, weekends, holidays, overtime. On average, you guys, you'll be working about 30 to 50 hours a week with the potential of overtime based on peak times. It really does vary depending on the season, but also the role that you're in as well. But on average, it will be about 30 to 50 hours per week. You typically will have 2 days off a week. However, they probably, or they may not be consecutive just based on operational needs, and they probably won't be on the weekends as well. I know that when I did my program, my days off were typically anywhere between Tuesday and Thursday. So sometimes I had Tuesday, Wednesday, sometimes it was Tuesday, Thursday. It really just depended on the operation and the business needs. Busier weeks, I had 1 day off a week, but that was fine too. When it's busy at work, the day will go by super fast. Here at Disney, you are paid weekly every Thursday. And I'm going to say this, remember Epcot, every paycheck comes on Thursday. You will never forget that. You get paid on Thursdays, unless it's a holiday. You'll never forget that. So keep that in mind as well. One of the cool things is, we'll talk about it later too, but your rent for Flamingo Crossings Village, it will be deducted out of your paycheck every week. So you don't have to worry about, paying a landlord or something like that. As far as requesting off, we did see a lot of you had questions about that when you filled out that the registration. Prior to the start of your program, we are unable to grant requests for time off. And when I say we, I mean our recruitment team. After you've attended your Disney welcome session and completed your training, we would just encourage you to speak with your work location and submit your time off request on the hub. So our hub is our internal website. You will learn a lot more about that hub once you arrive here. We'll walk you through it. We'll give you your login. It will be another one of your lifelines while you're here. I've been here 18 years. I log into the hub every single day for information. So you will use that a lot while you're here on the college program. Disney Look. So our Disney Look has been part of our company history since Disneyland opened in 1955. We recently did make some changes, which you may already be aware of. It includes our tattoo policies. So visible tattoos, they are now permitted with the exception of placement on the face, head, and neck areas. So tattoos must be no larger than your hand when fully extended with your fingers held together. So kind of keep that in mind as well. Your costume, it is an extremely important part of the Disney Look. Again, it's been around since 1955. And with the addition of our fifth key, which is inclusion, we now have gender neutral costumes as well, which is pretty cool. So you'll have a choice of option A or option B, something very new, which is really cool, part of our company. You will pick up your costume during your training, and just keep in mind that you can pick up 5 costumes at a time, but you are responsible for all damages and everything. So I know we're talking way far ahead here, but make sure that you return these at the end of your program, as it could impact your rehire status. I've seen people want to hang on to them. Sherelle, one of our recruiters, always says, keep them for Halloween or something like that. Make sure that you do return them, even the belt, even the rain gear, the water bottle. It could impact your rehire status, which we don't want to see happen to you. So make sure that we're returning those costumes at the end of your program. One of the best part is, especially for me, I'm not much of a, wash and dry. I don't like to do the laundry. Our costuming department, they will actually wash your costumes for you, which is extremely, exciting. If you want to hang on to them, though, Brittany mentioned before that she always says this, that, she washed them on her own, she kept them. She liked to keep her own costumes. For me, I just exchanged them every couple of days and got a new one. I didn't like the responsibilities. So I would let Disney wash them for me. So it's personally, it's your choice, but whatever it is that you want to do. So program champions, we are extremely excited today because we do have program champions with us on the call today. They are leaders in the operation who are here to support you, in addition to your area leaders. So they have a passion for Disney programs, you guys, and many of them are alumni of the Disney College program. In addition to serving as a resource for you, these are just great leaders to network. They have network with. They have different backgrounds and experiences and just a lot of knowledge about the company in general. And once you arrive and get into your work location, you're going to learn a lot more about your program champions and how you can engage with them. So I would highly recommend you, make sure you introduce yourself. Make sure to utilize them on the program. They are there to help you and, they can help you network as well. So make sure you utilize them on the program. All right, so let's talk about studying the magic. So as far as our program offerings, as you can see from the picture there, while you're here, we really want to immerse you in that Disney culture and magic as much as we possibly can. So as you see the picture there, that was one of the locations that we took our participants to not too long ago. Does anybody know which attraction that is in the picture? If you want to go to the chat, which attraction is that? Does anybody know? Peter Pan, Small World? Definitely not those. The Falcon, Flight of Pass, Smuggler's Run, absolutely. So, just a lot of great opportunities while you're on the program. We do provide a variety of program offerings. One of them is our Discover Disney. Participants can learn about the research that went into creating that land or attraction, but they also learn about how the cast members tell that story. And I mentioned, we were at Smuggler's Run not too long ago. Just overall, just an incredible experience. And trust me, these tours are awesome. You will probably even get to experience the attraction. Sometimes we'll do Space Mountain. I know we'll turn the lights on, let you experience the attraction with the lights on sometimes. In the past, we've done Haunted Mansion, where you're not only experiencing the attraction, but you get to walk the actual attraction as well. So just overall, a lot of different amazing things that you can participate in. We also offer Spotlight On sessions and marketing events. Last season, we had speakers from Disney Animation, Walt Disney Imagineering, Good Morning America. I saw in the chat earlier that a lot of you guys are interested in Imagineering or working for there after the program. We do everything that we can to just give you a lot of different exposure and networking opportunities, while you're here. All of these opportunities will be on dorms, so very important that you keep checking out dorms while you're on the program. That's how you register for these as well. We do also provide a variety of career development opportunities to help you grow professionally while you're here. But with a Disney twist, Brittany and I used to host these sessions. Each one was really different because the audience was different, but, we have different backgrounds and different journeys, to get where we are, here today. So all of these have a good, fun Disney twist. We offer sessions on interviewing, resume writing, personal branding, networking, which are just all so important for young professionals, looking to grow with the company, especially at a company like Disney where, networking is just such a huge part of the game and, building those professional relationships as well. Again, these will be on dorms. So if it's something you're interested in, you have the time off, make sure you sign up, get involved. We talked a little bit before about what's next throughout your program. You're going to have opportunity to think about what's next after the Disney College program. Could mean anything from extending your program. We talked about professional internships, or maybe even it's you're going to transition to a full or part-time role after your program. You are definitely not alone in that journey. You will have a lot of people here to help you along the way, including us, but also your amazing program champions, who many of them are on the call today. So definitely get involved, utilize us. We are here to help. We want to see you grow professionally and make sure that you have this amazing journey and hopefully a career with Disney, just like Brittany and I and Devon had as well. So
exactly. Now we're going to cover some really fun stuff about Flamingo Crossings Villages. Okay, throw in the chat. Has anyone have any friends who are currently on the program? Have you seen pictures of Flamingo Crossings Villages? I always like to say, yes, great, perfect. And so hopefully your friends have told you just how amazing it is. As I shared earlier, I worked at our legacy properties, and the first time I walked into Flamingo Crossings Villages, I had seen plenty of pictures, but I walked in and I was like, can I live here too? Like, this is so nice. So just be prepared. The pictures truly do not do it justice. It is just really incredible. So as I mentioned, there is an East and West campus. Very much identical. The only thing that the West doesn't have is Apprentice Hall, which is think of where our Disney team is. That's only on the east side, but we do have presence from a Disney presence over as well on the west side. So our Flamingo Crossings Villages is owned and operated by American Campus Community. You're going to hear us reference our partners in ACC quite a bit. So you'll hear that, you'll get to meet them and meet our Disney team as well too. Let's talk a little bit about the amenities. It's pretty incredible. So I always like to talk, we had a question about the gym. So there is a 12,000 square foot fitness center, which is open 24 hours. When I say it is massive, it is very large. There is any possible equipment that you could think of is there. It inspires me to want to work out. I will not, but it inspires me to.
I clearly don't either, but I should.
Now, what's up my alley is the resort style swimming pools. Those are more my speed. They have giant screen TVs, which are pretty incredible. There are, if you're a sports fan like Brandon, there's basketball courts and volleyball courts. There is like a recreation center that has ping pong and foosball. There's even a huge like giant chess, which I'm like swear at. I'm like, I want to learn how to play chess for this. There's also, I know we had a question about the packaging room. So there's a packaging room. So if you, and it is 24 hours, which is really nice because we know that you have different work schedules. And so you'd be receiving information whenever you have a package that has arrived for you and where to pick it up as well too. Again, 24 hours. There's even a cooler space, like a fridge space. So if you have any items that are being sent that need refrigerating, is there as well. Now let's talk about your actual apartment. On the website, which I love, is that you can also see broken down by like rooms, what's offered, but it is fully furnished, which is really nice. Flat screen TVs in the main living room. Back in the day, we used to have to text each other and be like, who's bringing the TV, right? So that's already covered. There's a lockable drawer, which I really like in your room. As you know, for the most part, you're sharing space with other people. So it's a safe space that you can keep any documents, laptops, anything like that, that you would be able to control. Now, if you're going into the kitchen, right, and you're thinking about cooking a meal, they would have everything that you would need, utensils, plates, pans, things like that to cook a meal. Now, we do not have a cafeteria on property. It's important to notate that. So we don't have one, but we do have ride shares that are able to drop off. They have their own designated spots right off of property. It's still on property, but you have to go through security. It's on the right-hand side. There's a roundabout where they're able to drop off items. Like if you get a pizza delivered, you'd have to just like walk out there to pick it up. It's of course 24-hour security just for your safety, but you do have to exit there. But I love that we were that thoughtful about it, that Uber Eats, ride shares, other things are definitely a part of our world right now. So we want to make sure that we have space designated for them to be able to drop off. Now, I think one of the coolest things is the neighborhood. So if you have friends who are here, you already know that they're part of a specific neighborhood represented by a character, and it's a set of buildings. And you will learn what apartment and neighborhood you're a part of when you check in on arrival day. That's also when you find out who your roommates are. I know a lot of you wish you could find out who your roommates are ahead of time, but due to confidentiality, we are not able to share that information ahead of time. You will, if you linked with someone, they will be in your space. But however, everyone else would be a fun surprise the day of. But that's when you find out what your neighborhood is. And again, it's represented by a Disney character. Think of, I know Bagheera is on screen right now, Doc, Edna May. And there's a lot of pride associated with the neighborhood as well as different events associated too. And then advisors, I think this is a program advisor, someone with Disney who's designated to you and your neighborhood. You will receive an email from them. I think it's such a personal touch. I've done the program, as I mentioned, and sometimes it's easy to feel like a little lost, like a lost little fish in a big pond, right? So we try to make it very personal, that there's someone that you could go to from the programs team who's your advisor as well. Now, guests, we got that question and a lot on the registration. So you cannot have overnight guests unless they are currently on the program and residing at Flamingo Crossings Villages. They do have to check both of those boxes. You can have visitors between the hours of 8 a.m. and 1 a.m. You're allowed to sign in 2 visitors as well too. So just keep that in mind as well. Now the events, so Brandon talked about our program offerings, our developmental opportunities, which are truly amazing. Please make sure you take advantage of those. Pretty great things at your disposal as well to just develop and learn. We also have some fun events that are hosted by our ACC partners. Think about trips, think about grocery bingo, little events, neighborhood events that we talked about. They have fun little events that you will see throughout the week as well, especially your onboarding and welcome week. A biggest thing is check your dorm's calendar. Some of them you'll have to register in advance and some of them you can just like pop in on. So, and we also have weekly newsletters that you'll receive this information as well too. Employee assistance program is something so near and dear to my heart, as I talked about. There's a roller coaster of emotions at times. So employee assistance program is a counseling service for our Disney cast members. You'll learn a lot more information about this, about how many sessions are free for them. But starting in May, so for your arrival group, there is going to be EAP counselors on site at Flamingo Crossings Villages 2 days a week to schedule. So really take those advantage. I know there's going to be moments where you might get homesick as well too. So take advantage of that. Your mental health is so important. Now the floor plans, as I talked about with your lease, you're going to figure out what the layout is and what housing preference that you've received for the layout wise. Now your housing cost could range between $185 to $235 per week, depending on the style of apartment that you receive. Again, you'll find that information out on your lease. I always like to add this because we do get questions about mattresses. You are not, we will provide the mattress, but you have to provide your own linens and beds, oh my God, comforters, sheets, things like that. So if you are in a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom style unit, just so that you know, again, this is on the support site, but you're gonna have a twin extra long bed. And now for the 4-bedroom units, whether it's a 2-bedroom or 2 bathrooms or 4, oh my God, I'm saying this wrong. 4 bedrooms, either 2 bathrooms or 4 bathrooms, you're gonna need a full extra long sheets and beds, linen. So just make sure you have that as well too. Now, transportation, a lot of people get excited about the company perks. I promise I did not miss this. We'll talk about transportation first. This is another slide that I would encourage you to take a picture of. This transportation app, Passio Go, please download it. Feel free to download it now. I would highly encourage it. The agency is Disney Programs. It's a great way, especially if anyone's utilizing our transportation to and from work. It's a great way for you to just kind of start getting familiar with the routes. We, of course, have routes going to and from all of the parks and resorts where you would be working, other facilities as well, too. I always like to highlight the grocery aspect because some of you we know are not bringing your vehicle. Yes, we do take transportation. It's a leisure route to either a neighborhood Target or a super Target. It rotates depending on what the day is. So just make sure that you're always checking based on what day it is, it's going to that certain location. There are restaurants and other amenities and things in walking distance to each of those areas as well too. So I always like to point that out. You are definitely not alone. If you do not bring your vehicle, you're A-okay. We will, I'm a big fan of Target. So I'm super excited that previously we went to Walmart. So I love a good Target trip anytime. So feel free to download that app. Again, you'll learn a lot more about transportation, but I always like to say it is a great aspect of those who are residing at Flamingo Crossings Villages. Now, company perks. This is always a big one. People get so excited. It's a nice perk, right? We get self-admissions into our parks. Of course, there are blackout dates that all of us have to abide by. And you do have to make reservations as well, too. Now, if we get the question, when we get those self-admissions passes, you will get that. So once you go through traditions, the following week, so you will receive an email from our programs team letting you know that it has arrived, and you can pick it up and you can use it pretty much instantly as long as you get that park reservation as well, too. You will learn a lot more. I promise this is just a sneak peek of the opportunities of earning those complimentary one-day park hoppers as well, tickets for family and friends who are wanting to come down as well. Some of the other perks I always like to highlight too. Obviously, we get discounts on food and beverages, resort rates, depending on the season too. For the holidays, we usually get 50, which is pretty nice. rates on cruise lines, different like Alani, other really cool opportunities as well. But some of the ones currently that might relate to you more, right? Our water parks are open right now, free admission until July 1st, and 50% off if you wanted to bring a guest who's not a cast member, which is always nice. We have great weather right now. And then we even have the opportunity right now to sign up this week for the Guardians of the Galaxy new attraction coming up. Brandon's really jealous that he's in Iowa as well, but we got to sign up for that opportunity. So again, so many incredible opportunities that you get as cast members. Sorry, I know that was just so much information. I want to make sure the Flamingo is such an important part for anyone who's residing in there. But we do want to tackle some of the common questions that we saw during your registration. Now, I'll tackle the first one, Brandon. I know we just covered it with the visitor policy, but can we have visitors at Flamingo Crossing? So just be mindful of the visitor hours, right? 8 a.m. Till 1 a.m. visitors are allowed on property. You do have to be with them, of course, but you can only sign in 2 visitors and guests at a time. They cannot use any of the amenities, so keep that in mind too. You can't sign them in to go use the gym or anything like that. But yes, you are allowed to have visitors. Again, keep in mind the no overnight visitors unless they are currently residing on the program and living at Flamingo Crossing.
Awesome. Great. How does transportation work to and from work? Awesome. So, a lot of you will bring your car. I'll say I did bring my car in the program, but I utilize the transportation a lot just because when I worked at Epcot, if I brought my own car, I had to park in the very back, usually of the parking lot. The bus dropped me off right at the front door, and it was just a lot easier that way. We do have a bus stop, at the front of Flamingo Crossing Village. So if you want to ride that bus, Brittany mentioned that Passio Go. I also put it in the chat. So if you want to download that app now, the agency is Disney Programs. You'll get a little familiar, with the bus routes and everything. One of the cool things is, it does go to all the different theme parks. It does go to Target. So if you don't have a car, you still need to get groceries, you will have that opportunity as well. A lot of times people ask, is it reliable? Well, you just got to keep in mind too that it'll be there, but sometimes traffic happens too. Orlando is a busy area, especially during the holiday season, where whether you're driving or taking a bus, you may get stuck in traffic. You will get stuck in traffic. So just plan accordingly. If you work at 11, I probably would not advise taking the 10:45 bus. I would try to get there a little bit early. My philosophy is, in my life, I would rather be 15 minutes early than 1 second late. So just kind of keep that in mind. You'll learn and you'll adapt as you get here. Maybe, during your first week, if you want to get familiar with the bus system, I would just take the bus somewhere, take it to Magic Kingdom or take it to Disney Springs, just so you can kind of get a good feel of when do I need to be there? How long is it going to take to get to these different locations?
And Brandon, if I could add to, when you pull up, if you download the app, if you pull up whatever the route is, it will tell you what time it's projected to be there. So you can start planning out, especially once you know your rolling location. Okay, if say, for example, I need to be there at 5, okay, I probably need to take the 3:30 bus, right? Just to make sure I get there accordingly as well too. So the next question, when will I find out my role location and will I be able to change my roles? So your role and location, I know we keep reiterating this, but I think it's such good information. You'll find that information out when you receive your itinerary, again, 7 to 10 days ahead of time. And can you change your role? So unless there's a true medical need, and again, if you do have a medical accommodation that you need for work, please make sure you're submitting that in advance. Our biggest recommendation is on the support site as well, to fill out that paperwork that's needed from your medical provider back at home as well too. But that would be that role that you would be assigned for the duration of your program, unless there is a true medical accommodation and need. But again, please make sure, as Brandon said, you could be in 20 different guest facing roles.
Yeah. And what if I need an early release from the program? We have seen people today, that maybe they play a sport or something, or in the band at school or something like that. If you do need an early release from the program, it's something that you want to reach out to through the support site. Perfect. Thanks, Brittany.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you can go to the support site. There will be more information toward the end of your program as well, but I would try to take care of that, research that right away. Support site, it is your lifeline while you're here. Just keep in mind too, guys, that when we talk about this, I used to support Disneyland. We talked about this every single week, that it isn't an approved early release. Okay. So it's something to do with like a school affiliated function. We talked about, I think someone in the chat mentioned they ran track at their school or something like that. So maybe you have to get back for practices. Maybe you're in the band, you're on the cheerleading squad or something like that. If it's an approved early release, those are the forms and everything. We see a lot too that sometimes, you don't want to work at the holidays. I need to leave early. Just keep in mind that if you do leave the program early and do not have that approved release, it will impact your rehire status. So that's something that you want to keep in mind as well. So,
but we put it in the chat too, because there's documents and information that you would need to provide. And you can't leave earlier than 3 weeks before your end date as well too. Awesome. So Devon, I know that we have some Q&A that you have assigned already. So thank you for that.
Sure, thank you. That have come in. So I know you went over the packaging. Just to reiterate, you can't have any packages sent ahead of time before you arrive, but once you do arrive, you'll be assigned a specific address, and then you can have packages then sent. I know Brittany went over that a little bit. There's also a refrigerated center there. So if you have anything, groceries delivered from any services that would need to be refrigerated, they can go in there as well. Just to touch on, since we do have the East and West campus now, some questions have come in around that. They are not technically connected. They are a little bit of a walking distance from each other, so just keep that in mind. But we do have buses that run between the two campuses, so that way you don't have to, make the trek if you don't want to walk the whole way.
Devon, can I elaborate too? So with transportation, so if you're going to look at those routes, right, that I encourage you with Passio Go. So any of them, so for example, say one of them the route starts at east, the next stop will always be west and vice versa, right? So if you're visiting a friend on east and west, you could really truly just double check and make sure where it's starting at and where it's going. You definitely want to make sure you're not getting on a bus and it's going somewhere else, but you want to make sure that if it starts at east, it will go directly to west as well, right afterwards.
Perfect. And then another question that we have received, if someone is opting out of housing, are they able to take part in the events at Flamingo Crossing? So just keep in mind when you receive your dorms, or there'll be like a weekly or monthly newsletter. In the newsletter, it'll have all the events, the calendar of events. And there it will say if the event is open to all participants or just for those residing at Flamingo Crossing. So just make sure you're keeping an eye out for that.
Yeah, so for the most part, like the program offerings that we talked about, like the resume writing, some of the spotlights on things like that are oversaw by our Disney team, those would be offered regardless if you're residing at Flamingo or not. But some of the events that are hosted by our ACC partners, those would be strictly, for the most part, again, as Devon talked about, look at the newsletter and dorms, but those would be offered just for those who are residing at Flamingo.
Awesome. And Brittany, we had a couple of questions about extensions. So for those of you looking for an extension, keep an eye on your email. If there are extension opportunities or availability, we will send you different emails, throughout the program, talking about any extension opportunities. The one thing I do want you to keep in mind is that anytime that you're applying for another job at Disney or an extension or professional internship, they will look at your record card. So it's so important that, you maintain that good record card, and it stays on there too. Like I look at my record card 18 years ago, I forgot to clock in one night, or clock out one night when I was leaving Epcot. It is still on there. So keep in mind that you want to maintain that good record card. Work really hard when you're in your location. I always say treat every day like it's a job interview. You just never know who you're going to run into. You want to make a good impression, not just for the guests, but for your leaders every single day. So that record card, it really does reflect, the different work and the customer that you are. So if you're looking at, professional opportunities, extensions, definitely keep that in mind. That record card will play a huge factor as well.
Perfect. I'll tackle Sam's question. Sam asked, when do schedules come out, weekly or monthly? In between, actually. So you will find out on the Sunday, and it will provide you 2 weeks of what your schedule will look like. As Brandon talked about a little bit earlier, flexibility is key. There could be a peak season where someone might need you to stay a little bit later for overtime or whatever the case may be, but you'll find out those schedules drop on Sunday, and it will provide you 2 weeks out.
Another question that we get a lot of, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, please, Devon, go ahead.
Another question that we do get a lot of is, what should I pack? And as we did mention earlier, the checklist is a very helpful tool that's on the support site. But just to kind of reiterate, don't bring everything that you own. You will actually go back home with probably twice as many things as you come down here with. So just keep that in mind. Just make sure that you do have enough clothing, attire for different types of weather. It is going to be very warm here in the summertime, but it does also rain almost every day in the summer. So just make sure you do have maybe an umbrella is a good thing to bring, maybe a raincoat as well, and just maybe some dressier attire for your traditions or any classes that you may be taking. And as well as, maybe an alarm clock just in case your phone isn't working. Maybe for those coffee drinkers, maybe a coffee maker. I'm not a coffee drinker, but some people may. I know. So just keep that in mind. And if you are on the culinary program, make sure you don't forget your knife kit as well.
And sunscreen.
Okay, and I know we had some questions about you. You do have to check your visitors in, right? And you do not have to check them out, but just making sure that they're off property by that time as well, too. I answered the question about the accommodation. I sent that. I know we had some questions about the character auditions. I know that's a hot topic right now. So anyone who who's submitted information about the character audition or is planning on doing so, when you receive your itinerary, you're still will showcase your whatever role that you have, right? But on your itinerary, it might have if there's a callback for you as well. And if you are selected to be a character performer, then you would be adjusted in the system to that new role. However, if you're not, that would be whatever role that you originally have on your itinerary. That would be it. So.
Yeah.
Yes,
some people asked about the difference between the East and the West, specifically the weight room. I get you. I feel you. The weight room, Jake. It's really going to be the same. The only thing different is Apprentice Hall, right? Brittany is
yes, correct.
The only thing. So everything else will be exactly the same. Apprentice Hall is really where our office buildings are and stuff like that. So. And
then Mary asked about the approved early release affects their rehire. No, if it's an approved either work-related early release, check out the support site link I sent, or an early release for school. I think it's just you successfully completed your program. Again, it needs to be approved, and you need to make sure you return your costumes accordingly as well too. But more to come on that. But yeah, so you'd be successfully completing your program just like you would if you hadn't left a little early. Okay, I think we are, oh goodness, I know we're almost right at time, but before you guys jump off, please, this is our new season, right? We've only been doing this for a couple of weeks. We would love your feedback and thoughts. So if you want to scan the survey, please, we would love your thoughts on any changes or what you thought of this. We would also encourage you, I know we weren't able to get to everyone's question. Please feel free to reach out to us at support.disneyprograms.com. Even let us know, hey, I was in today's session and I had a follow-up question. Again, it goes to our team, right? So we'll be able to answer those questions for you. We do not want to think that we are leaving you stranded. We will get your questions answered. And again, stay connected with us. I know it's only a couple weeks away to your program, but I know most of you probably are following official Disney programs, but at Disney Programs Life is really a cool handle as well for our communication teams puts on for anyone who's currently on the program as well too. So